mom was in the household. She was in the household. She was an abused woman. He would beat her. And when she did try to speak against him and go against what he was doing to me, then yes, he would retaliate out of anger.
You're dealing with all of this. How does an 8-year-old girl grow? And did you reach out to anyone at school? Or
I wasn't in school. I was homeschooled.
Homeschooled, okay.
Yeah, so my family was my world, pretty much. And eventually, my father completely got rid of any connection with my extended family, which was my grandmother on my mom's side. So there was limited interaction with anybody outside of our immediate nucleus.
Did you and the siblings form any sort of a further bond, if you will, going through this nightmare that you're dealing with, you know?
We did, but another thing that abusers do is that they make everyone enemies. They pin everybody against each other.
Right.
So all of my siblings were trained to tell on everybody if you acted out of line, and because we were being taught that this was a way of life. Your parents are telling you to do something, you just do it if you're obedient, and we were obedient. We were pretty obedient children.
You were 8 years old when this started, as you just told us. It impacted, you said, your sisters, and then probably the real nightmare, if you will, if there can even be even further, was when you found out you'd become pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you had the first child by your father?
I got pregnant with my first child when I was 15, and I had her when I was 16. So, I mean, my body was not even fully developed in order to breastfeed her, and that was a challenge in itself. Now, because I had a lot of siblings that I helped care for, I mean, I taught a lot of my brothers and sisters how to read and write, so the maternal instinct was natural, but just being responsible for a child, solely responsible, and then even once my daughter was born, my dad would use her safety against me in order to keep me quiet.
This man sounds like this controlling monster, and just as I'm listening to this, and even in just reading up on you before you came on, I understand that in his mind, he was saying something about a bloodline.
Yes, after my daughter was born and she did not have any health issues that we could see, he had decided that she would be, because she was pure blood, as he called it, she would be the first of a new race that he was creating. So after she was born, he had decided that he was going to continue to breed me and make children to start a new race.
Did this pass on to your siblings also?
It did. To four other girls, yes.
Did he, we want to let everyone know, he is behind bars.
Yes, he is.
Right now. How long has he been?
He is, since 2006 he's been behind bars. He is serving a 90-year sentence.
Is that even enough?
I mean, I think for his age, it probably would be enough. He can't hurt anybody else where he is through that 90 years. But, I mean, my nature, I don't really wish harm on other people. So, I leave a lot up to God, what he has to answer for. So I don't think I'm in the position to say if that's enough. Mm-hmm. But I think logistically, and I think it's enough.
Did you ever blame yourself, Aziza?
Of course. I thought, especially when I was little, what did I do to get this kind of attention? And the fact that my father was telling me that I was the blame, then I believed him. I believed that I did something wrong or I wasn't good enough. And even for regular punishment, like if I didn't do my chores or I was out of line and just regular everyday kid stuff, he would punish me in a sexual way.
I just want to let you know that I am really wrestling to stay composed here, because inside there's just this anger, that knowing that these types of predators, are out there, and they know no race, they know no religion, no class,
right.
There isn't any one particular box that they all come in. How did you get through this?
God, one. I knew that eventually, I trusted that eventually I would escape. I think I internalized a lot of things, and then when I started having children, they was the most important thing to me. And I write. I'm a writer.
Right.
I've always written. I used to write in my diary, but then my father found it, so that kind of hindered. And then the fact that he was in the music industry, you know, we was always busy. So, you know, he worked us, and the only thing I dreaded are the times that he would come and rape me or have sex with me, or, you know, if we said the wrong thing, you know, a violent beating. So life in my family was just trying to get through each day without being punished for something, or, you know, having something horrible happen.
You had, what, is it 3?
I've had 5 children
5.
for him. Yes, I've been pregnant 5 times for my father, 4 live births. Yes, 1 passed away in 2010.
Aziza, did other people know, or how did you explain?
No, nobody else knew, especially once I got pregnant. Then I couldn't even go and visit my grandmother on both sides of the family. He moved us down to South Jersey, so there wasn't any contact with any other family, so no one knew. And then as his career became more public, he started introducing me as his young wife.
He tried to pass you off as his wife?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
How did that make you feel? For a young girl, you're already going through trying to deal with puberty and all of that. How in the world did you process all of this?
Maybe I have a strong spirit. Just one thing at a time, and try to process it the best way as I can, and try to maintain. And I guess having a purpose, like protecting my siblings and protecting my children, I kind of put myself aside. So just one day at a time.
You are absolutely showing a strength that I couldn't even begin to imagine for what a woman, you know, or beginning of a child has gone through. So we just thank you so much for coming by to talk to us. Welcome back. We've been talking with Aziza Kabibi, who endured years of sexual abuse from her father. Now, her father, just to let you know, is the MTV award-winning music director, Swad Allende. He directed the video of the Fugees' Killing Me Softly. So in the late 80s to 90s, he was very prolific. You said that he passed you off as his young wife at some point. And also, as you heard in our last segment, Azizi was pregnant 5 times with 4 children who survived the pregnancies, but 1 passed away. 1 of my 4 children that survived, yes. She had spinal muscular atrophy and also a phenylketonuria. So she had 2 inborn errors because she was inbred, and she died of complications from the spinal muscular atrophy. You have been so kind in being frank and open with us and in sharing this story of what you went through. And you brought your children. Yes, I did. With them, and they're all a lovely bunch here. But let's meet everybody. Let me see if I can get the names right. Arishke. Arishk. Arishk. Did I get it right? That's okay. There you go. Moncho? Yeah. Moncho, all right. And Aloba. Yes. And I'll start with you, my dear. You're the oldest. You know, when were you first told of how you came to be? I was about 14, and mommy kind of just pulled me aside, and she was saying, because when I was little, I always asked her who was my father, and you know what happened to him, why aren't we with him now? And she kind of gave me vague answers, and then at 14 she pulled me aside and told me that her father was my father, and you know everything that happened. What does a 14-year-old do when you hear something as devastating as that? I was shocked, but I did know something was off, especially since my aunts, we didn't really have a connection with them. Yeah, I was just really shocked, and I was sad, and but you know, I was happy that we were out of it, you know, the problems, and you know, it was hard a little bit, yeah. Moncho, how about you? How old were you when your mom told you? Probably about between 14, 13 years old. And, you know, it was you know, when I found out, I was shocked. I was, you know, a little confused, too. Because it was you know, seeing pictures of him, I was seeing him, you know, as my grandfather. But then it was I was a little confused. I was so he's my father? And yeah. Same with you, Aloba?
when I found out, it was about 2 years ago. I was 13, and I want to say I was speechless. Like it was like late night. It had to be around like 10 o'clock. I want to say I was speechless, but also, you know, I have like, where there's bad, there has to come good. So the fact that we was put, you know, into my mother's lives, I think that was a good thing.
Did any of you get angry? Oh, how angry did?
I was.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to not get angry.
Exactly.
You know, you kind of have that feeling of, you know, it's not like you're that kind of person, but when you know that somebody close to you has hurt somebody else that's really close to you, you get, you know, some murderous thoughts.
Revenge,
you know, you hope, you know, oh, I hope he has a bad life, or, you know, but
I hope this isn't out of bounds, but when's the last time any of you have seen this man? And thankfully he's behind bars, but, you know, when's the last time?
The last time I saw him, I was 13. Me, my mother, and my grandmother were at India Square.
Yeah, in Jersey City. We were shopping in Jersey City.
And she went to go get her earrings fixed, and he was there in the same place that she went to get her earrings fixed. I didn't really see him like face to face. I was in the car, like parked across the street, because my grandmother was the only one that went in, and I got like a little glance, and that was it.
Yeah, the last time I saw him was at his sentencing, so that was in 2013. And besides being overwhelmed with emotion, I mean, there was some fear there still, but I had this weird sense of compassion, I guess. It was weird because, you know, he looked obviously like he was suffering, and I think just as another human being suffering in that way, but I was just really hurt by everything that he had done and the fact that he was denying the things that he had done. So it was a little overwhelming.
You've written a book.
Yes.
Also, tell us about your book.
Well, my book is called UNASHAMED, A Life Tainted. There are 3 versions of it.
Okay.
The first one is on Amazon. It's Unashamed, A Life Tainted by Incest, Molestation, and Violence, Volume 1. Volume 2 is coming out on the 24th. And then I will be doing a print book that's Unashamed, A Life Tainted, Volume 1 and 2.
Okay.
So
was that therapeutic for you to?
Yes, definitely. It was to get everything out on paper, and I mean, it's still not everything, but to get everything out on paper, even how I processed a lot of what happened to me and the things that I went through with my children and the whole journey, and then read it back. It was emotional, but it was freeing.
Your relationship with your mother, what's that like now?
We're very close. We're very close. I'm very frank and open with my mother.
Has she apologized? Does she feel like I should have done more for my Aziza and my daughter? Okay, she has.
Yes, she does. She does.
Okay.
Yeah, and I appreciate and I admire her strength in continuing because, yeah, as the other parent, she is very responsible. So she takes a lot of that.
Let me say
guilt
this.
on.
First of all, I am overwhelmed at just how well adjusted, you know, you got teenagers, you know, who are here, and even during the commercial break, you know, are I would just say just another kid that I would have passed on the street. They're well mannered, they're well behaved, given the horror of what their mom has gone through. So I think that strength that allowed you to survive what began at 8.
Yes.
You know, we won't say how many years ago because I won't give your age away. You know,
it's okay.
But just you know, the strength that you have there is clearly passed on. You know,
Thank you.
to your line. So I thank you all for coming and just sharing and being open and frank, you know, about what's going on and what has happened in your lives. And there is a reason, young man, like you said, that you are here, you know, for that. And I hope that inspiration isn't lost upon any of you. But up next, the creator of a powerful new film that